Welcome, everyone. Felipe Kuzner, President of the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce. Very, very happy to be broadcasting this live to you today here from downtown LA, but we have a lot of people from a lot of different places joining us today. It is really a special day to see not just all the speakers here with us today, but to have the movement of the launch of another sector-specific working group for the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of so much confusion and shifts in our supply chain. I am delighted to see so many friends in the audience. I see Norm from the Port of LA. I see Joe from the Port of Long Beach. I see a lot of friends that I already mentioned before we started here. But the thing is, I am really excited that we are joining forces to, again, share a little bit more information, get more people connected, and hopefully enable and foster more business, right? At the end of the day, this is a chamber of commerce. Our purpose is commerce, and this is what we're here to do. We're here to share information. We're here to get people connected. We are here to enable access to experts, to service providers, to knowledge, so that you that is doing business in trade or logistics or interested in learning more how to operate trade and logistics between Brazil and the US with a focus in California can join us and be part of this conversation. Again, Felipe, as president of the chamber, I am delighted and really honored to have so many experts and so many great people on board to launch this event. The purpose of the chamber is to ultimately generate more business. So having this committee is very, not only timely, but is extremely important to support our mission. So I welcome you all today to the launch of the International Trade and Logistics Committee of the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce. I want to start by by showing one quick video of one of our sponsors, which, by the way, is on the screen right now, Kleber from MV Risk Modeling Solutions. Rafa, please cue the video.
Active in the loss prevention market for over a decade, the MV Group is recognized by its excellency in consulting services for operations throughout the entire logistics chain. The MV Group grew 170% in the last 3 years and currently counts with a team of 120 employees conducting operations in 5 countries for companies such as General Motors, Samsung, Toyota, Tokyo Marine, and Honda. In 2017, the MV Group expanded to the United States and founded the MV Risk Modeling Solutions. The California-based company is in charge of the group operations in North America. Our products: MV Engineering, inspections and audit services in companies, residencies, buildings, and constructions. MV Insurance, claims analysis and loss preventions due to theft, breakdowns, and accidents. MV Software, development of customized software systems designed to fulfill customer needs with cutting-edge technology. MV Audit, with a focus in the cargo transportation segment, the MV Group is widely recognized for its excellency in audit services for insurance processes and procedures. MV Assist, assistance with inspection services at the loading and unloading of high-value products in ports and airports. MV Infrastructure, the MV Group develops exclusive risk management projects for the most important transportation infrastructure segments. MV Consulting, the MV Group provides consulting services throughout the entire logistics chain and for customers such as insurance companies, insurance brokers, risk management firms, shippers, carriers, logistics operators, manufacturers, automakers, and technology companies. MV Cargo and Vehicle Recovery. Using technology resources, we're able to locate and recover cargo and vehicles in case of theft. MV Rental. The MV Rental counts with the latest top security equipment, including security cameras, drones, taser glasses, tablets, and mobile phones, specially adapted to assist in the execution of loss prevention projects. MV, security and innovation throughout the entire logistics chain.
Obrigado, Kleber. Thank you so much. This is great. And one thing that I should say is we really appreciate the support of our partners. The Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce, by the way, is a 501c6, is a nonprofit organization here in California. So we rely heavily on partners, both institutional partners, our sponsors, and we really appreciate the level of engagement that we have with all of you. Needless to say, we have one of our most important partners here with us today, which is the Brazilian federal government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, our Itamaraty, represented here by the Deputy Consul General of Brazil in Los Angeles, our dear friend, Daniel Ponte, who's here to speak a little bit about the opportunity, the partnership. And Daniel, I really do want to thank you and Ambassador Marcelo Loureiro for all the support. You guys have been a tremendous partner of the Chamber, and I really look forward to engaging even further now that we have this committee. So thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you, Felipe. My friends, you're all friends. Throughout the years, the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce has built a close partnership with the Consulate General of Brazil in Los Angeles, aiming at the promotion of bilateral trade and investment opportunities. I'd like to congratulate the BCCC for the establishment of the International Trade and Logistics Committee. This is an important step for the Chamber and for the promotion of trade between Brazil and California. The team gains now a specific debate forum and also an institutional support structure for those who want to make business by importing and exporting goods. The existence of the trade opportunities between California and Brazil is clear. In 2018, California became the 5th largest economy in the world, if it were considered as a country, only behind the US, China, Japan, and Germany. On the other hand, Brazil is the 8th largest global GDP. However, this great potential still remains unexplored to a large extent. In part, this can be explained by the fact that Brazilian companies have generally looked at opportunities on the Atlantic Rim, whereas California's ones privilege the relations with the Pacific Rim. Additionally, the general costs for trade tend to be higher given the distance and freight costs. However, those costs can be compensated by quality and added value, making trade exchange extremely profitable. The challenge on the Brazilian side is to diversify and add value to the products exported to California. According to data from the US Department of Commerce, Brazil obtained a surplus of $2.1 billion in the trade balance with California in 2018, resulting from exports of $3.4 billion and imports of $1.3 billion, ranking as the 24th importer and the 20th exported relating to California. The main Brazilian exports to California in 2018 were oil and gas, primary metals, chemicals, agricultural products, and other goods such as food and beverage, furniture and clothing, plastics, leather. Brazilian imports originated in California were concentrated in computers and electronic products, transport equipment, chemical products, and various manufactured goods. From the consulate's perspective, the International Trade and Logistics Committee can become an important tool to increase trade between Brazil and California and to diversify Brazilian products in the Californian market. Although it is clear to say how the pandemic and the new global economic situation will impact the trade basket, the fact remains that exchanges between Brazil and California are well established and solid, and that we have reason to remain confident as we look to the future and explore new opportunities. I wish all the best to the new committee, which I'm sure will fulfill its objectives, and be sure that you can always count on the Brazilian consulate for support and encouragement. Thank you so much. Thank you, Felipe, and good luck for the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Excellent. Thank you. I'll use all those remarks for every opening statement that I have to do in terms of trade with Brazil and California. That's excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so with that, we're going to kick off the actual meeting of the committee. I am so excited to have not only the leadership of the committee, which is our Executive Vice President, Patrick Benedek, and Kleber Kuziol as the Vice Chairman of the group, but also we have so many experts that are playing a role in international trade. We have Marshall, we have Carla, we have Sandro, we have Marina. It's really exciting and amazing that we have so many experts joining us today. But again, guys, this is a great opportunity to leverage on this first meeting so that we can build more traction, get more connections, and be more efficient and profitable with our business. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick so that you can kick off the meeting, and then I'll come back at the end of the event to close the event. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you so much, everyone in the audience. And I wish you all an amazing session today, this morning. Thank you so much. Patrick?
Legal, obrigado, Felipe. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick Benedek. I am an attorney here in California and also in Brazil. As an attorney, I work with business and business immigration matters. I'm here today as the Executive Vice President of the Chamber. I'm also a director and a former president of the Chamber. And now I am also the very proud chair of this International Trade and Logistics Committee. I am so honored and happy to be here finally having this committee come to life. We've been discussing this, envisioning this committee for several years now. I've been pushing to make it happen probably ever since I first joined the Chamber. I see that the topics and all the discussions that we've been having at meetings and committees at the Chamber, everything is always very, very interesting, very helpful, very relevant. But after all, as Felipe mentioned, this is a Chamber of Commerce, and I always thought we needed to develop a committee to discuss commerce. Well, finally, we're able to gather this amazing and very dedicated group, all willing to share their knowledge in this area, all willing to put in effort to make this committee happen. I want to offer special thanks for all of those who are helping to make this possible. Felipe, thank you for your leadership, and special thanks for all of you who are part of this committee. This is a project for the benefit of everyone with an interest in commerce, in trade, in doing business, etc. I hope, actually, I'm sure that you'll find value in this, and that not only you join the Chamber if you're not a member yet, but also that you participate in our committee. Thank you all. Thank you for your participation and your interest. As always, I'm available to discuss any questions and ideas that you may have. Please feel free to reach out and contact me at any time. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day. Kleber.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Hello, everyone. This is a very happy day since I've arrived here in California 5 days ago. Sorry, 5 years ago. And I joined the chamber in 2017 to boost my company's business. And I found a great support from all the partners. Patrick was our president at the time. And it was really important to have how to establish a company here in California coming from Brazil and with little knowledge about how things would work. And here we are after 3 years. And since we started working and attending the events from BCCC, we had this idea. And after many years discussing together, we finally put it in practice, and it's happening now. So let me make a short presentation. We are making a live today to make a teaser of how it's going to work our committee, the purpose, objectives, and the topics we want to discuss. But the main thing that Daniel, Philippe, and Patrick said is to build commerce, networking, and business. We are sure we can support both countries, especially California government and the California state. And we have really good partners to make that happen. Let me share my presentation with you in a second. Okay. So let's talk about our committee. This is my company, a little bit. We are a risk modeling consulting company. And we bring the knowledge from Brazil to the US. And we've been having really good projects along these 3 years. And I'm also the vice chair of the committee. I'm a project risk manager for 15 years already. I have degrees in international relations, business economics, capital market, and project management. And our company is a California-based company. And we work with marine insurance, telematics, risk prevention, and cybersecurity for transportation. Recently, we joined force with an IT company from Europe called Malvas that's helping us a lot to automate and bring new solutions to the transportation and logistics market, especially after this crisis. Automation and innovation technology will be essential. That's a key factor to help all of our companies to overcome these problems, financial problems and operational problems. This is a little bit our process, how do we work, and we will share our presentation later, but let's focus on the purpose of our committee. Daniel and Philippe already talked about the trade between Brazil and the United States. It's historically very good. We've always been partners. Like the United States was the first country to recognize Brazilian independence in 1822. And we've been exchanging technologies and products for almost 200 years. So let's look a little bit now for the West Coast, what the Golden Coast can offer to Brazil, to Brazilian entrepreneurs, and to the Brazilian people society, why not? How about our agenda that we're gonna discuss here? We'll talk about the objective that I already explained. Make an overview about the trade between Brazil and USA and Brazil and California, just like highlighting what Daniel especially said, and talk about international cargo insurance. Cargo insurance is essential for international trade. It's important and obligatory. So as with a risk management background, never do transportation without insurance. And then we will have Carlo Antoniazzi talking about most important exported products from Brazil to USA and vice versa, and a bit about tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Sandro França, the CEO of Euronexus, he will talk about safety and security industry, export opportunities, and Brazilian certified softwood products. And Marshall Ray, president of Untitled International, will talk about something that I like, that is risk mitigation and compliance in the supply chain, international logistics, and transport decision-making elements. That's key and very important for all operation. And finally, Marina Caldas, that it's our corporate member. She's the director of institutional relations, and she will explain how to become a member, how to sponsor our events, how the BCCC can help your business. So let's start with my part here. We create this committee, as we said, to increase and to help Brazilian and US importers and exporters to expand their global sales. We organize trade missions, education seminars as this one, and provide valuable information. Information and networking is key it's essential for business success. So let's create a forum for that. And not only for trade, but everything that involves like logistics infrastructure, insurance, cargo transportation, risk mitigation, IT, and every service involved in this industry. Recently, the secretaries of foreign trade from the US and from Brazil, they co-chaired a plenary, a discussion last week to discuss especially non-tariff barriers. They are as important as tariffs, and it can help and facilitate the import and export from both countries. And we are glad we will have participation of Lucas Ferraz, our Secretary of Foreign Trade from the Brazilian federal government, in our event in September. We'll talk about that later. And I'm glad that I've been his student in my MBA from Fundação Getúlio Vargas. So about foreign direct investment, to highlight how is important the relationship between Brazil and the United States. It's in 2017, the foreign direct investment from the US in Brazil supported more than 85,000 jobs in Brazil. And Brazil invests $17 million in research and development in the US. And also Brazil invested $4.4 billion in expanding exports to the US. So the top industry sectors in the US of Brazilian FDI are software and IT service, financial service, food and beverage, textiles, chemicals, and metals. Going down a bit, or going west, as we are geographically located, talking about California. California shipped like more than $170 billion in goods around the globe. It's the second biggest exporter in the US behind Texas. And it represents 10% of United States exports, and represent like only the California exports represent 6% of the United States GDP. To see how important this state is, and how the market here is big. And we have a population of almost 4 million people, and it's the biggest GDP in the country. Talking about the trade between Brazil and California, the 20th largest export to California is Brazil. We export almost 1.3 billion. California export almost 1.3 billion to Brazil. And the main product was computer and electronics, transportation equipment, chemicals, and commodities as oil and gas. So you can see it's a diverse of products. We strongly recommend and incentivize all companies to make business in California. And now here in this committee, we can tell you how to do that. This is the products that can form the top 10 products that they most export. And so the Brazilian, 70% of Brazilian imports came from the US. And 13% of Brazilian exports went to the US, which means that 13% of the whole Brazilian export went to California. What California imports? Look at this figure. California has imported almost $50 billion in products in 2018. So if you're a Brazilian exporter, you need to export to California. And it's almost 20% overall of the imported products from the United States. And you can see here the main products that California imports. You can see that many of them Brazil can export. So come to talk with us. I want to focus a bit about my background as insurance. I've worked like 13 years in the insurance market. And international cargo insurance, as Perry said, is essential, but it's suffering a huge impact due to this COVID-19 crisis. It has interrupted logistic chains. There are some ports that are closed or partially operated. What this causes, you have accumulation in port of cargo in transit in ports and warehouses, and this is especially dangerous for perishable goods. They may not arrive in conditions of consumption. So this is certain loss. We can help a lot there. So, sorry. And another problem is the exchange rates turmoil. There's a devaluation in several currencies in Latin America, especially in Brazil. And this have a huge impact on importers. This are like, I can say like more than, it was raised at almost 50%, the devaluation of Brazilian currency just because of the crisis. But this can be an opportunity for the exporters. Like we are entering the phase 1 of the reopening of the California state. So business will start to heat up again. This is a point for Brazilian exports. Let's export to California, and BCCC will help you to do that. Okay, insurance, so finally insurance brokers and customers have to work together to minimize this problem. So briefly talking, it was only a teaser that we're gonna explain in our next meetings. I'm glad to pass the ball to my friend, my colleague, and one of the biggest supporters and biggest responsible for this committee is happening now. That is my friend Carla Antoniazzi. Carla, I'm very glad we made it, and the word is yours. Go ahead.
Carmona, please, my presentation. Good afternoon. Thank you, everybody, to participating in our meeting today. It's a pleasure to be talking today. And it's a pleasure also to be a member of this committee from Brazil, California Chamber of Commerce. So my name is Carla Antoniazzi, and I will share some information about myself. I work more than 25 years in the international trade and logistics. I currently work at DGX, Dependable Global Express. We are a full scope logistics provider. And I will put here my information, my phone number and my email. Please feel free to contact me anytime. And I am international account executive, and I am specialized in Latin America, yes. And also I am Director of Membership of Brazil, California Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so let's start. We're gonna talk a little bit about overview of Brazil trade with the US. So my next slide, we're gonna continue and talk about some products. I know the Council Daniel talked a little bit about the products that Brazil export to US, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about these products. The next slide. Okay, first product that I like to talk, airplanes. Brazil export, US is #1 buyer of airplanes from Brazil. This product reached 10th place in the rank of exports in the manufacturing industry. In the next slide, we're gonna see, you can see United States buys 64% of Brazil production in airplanes and $24 billion in value for B. So you can see Brazil and United States has a great partnership in this product. Next product that I like to talk is shoes. Besides, Brazil has a very quality and beautiful shoes. United States also is #1 buyer of shoes from Brazil. And 2019 footwear export total a revenue of more than 900 million, according to AB Calçados, that's Association of Footwear Industries. The next product in the next information, sorry, I want to share the statistics. United States #1 with 198 million in imports from Brazil in shoes. Next product is coffee. Like all of us here, we love our coffee in the morning. And I'm very, very suspicious to say that Brazil is one of the best coffee in the world. I love all the coffees, but Brazilian coffee is amazing. So Brazil export 2019, more than 128 countries, including the US. And coffee beans are in the ranking of the most exported products in Brazil in 2019, ranking 11th. So now we're gonna see another chart with, again, United States being the #1 buyer of Brazilian coffee, totaling 903 million. So again, we're gonna continue with my next slide, and then we Brazilian products, also wood, leather, cellulose, furniture, fruits, minerals, essential oils, and steel. So Brazil is not only a rich country in culture and beauty. Also, we have a great resource and products, and we are a big gamer in the international trade. Now, I would like to share my next slides. Okay, you now have your product, you have interest to do business with Brazil and import, and you should be asking some questions. How I can do that? I will share some points with you. I'm gonna be very briefly. We will have more sections, more events like this one, and then we're gonna go more deeply in each steps and everything that you need to know about international trade. So let's start. When you want to consider to import a product or distribute, do you know the international market of this product? Do you know your freight and logistics? Logistics plays an extremely important piece on that, because choosing the right partner and see how they can help you from a point A to a point B, from which port, and if you need customs, warehousing, is like marriage. You're gonna find the right partner. And I think Marshall is gonna talk a little bit more about that in his speech. So who are your competitors? Which country are your competitor? What's their quality comparing to yours? And the characteristics of your product, how your product can be better and more competitive. Is this product is going to show expansion, stability, or decline in the consumption? And what are the trade barriers? That is very important, because you have tariffs and no tariffs trade barriers. And some no tariffs trade barriers is employment law, imported license, export subsidies, product classification, quota shares. I want to talk a little bit more about this field that's very important in a next event, because I would be talking like an hour if we go depth on that. The most of all, what is the price that you're gonna be selling your product in US? How competitive you be? So in order to have these steps, you're gonna need a key partner. And I wanted to share very briefly with you, who are the key partners? Chamber of Commerce. Why I should join a Chamber of Commerce? Because it's very important to have the networking that you will have to participate of a community of companies and individuals that have the same goals as you. And also, when you are doing business with somebody that you know is more reliable, is more secured for you. Another key partner, consulates. They have a very resourceful information to you to get about the country that you want to do business. And to tell about our consulate, they are amazing. They are very friendly and very resourceful. And associations of the products that you want to trade. Logistics partners, another, like I mentioned before, key element, because with logistics, we'll make it or break it, your success in your trade. Risk management companies like insurance companies and attorneys is extremely important as well, because who is gonna do your contracts, who is gonna help you to be protected. And of course, you as a business company wanted to be protected when you are doing business in a foreign country. So I shared very briefly my points, and please stay tuned with the more topics that we will speak in the next events. And who knows, you can find your key partner in our meetings and have a very successful trade. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. That was great. Very good explanations. You pinpoint how we can export the main issues, and we're gonna discuss the points deeper in our next meetings. That's why we are inviting everybody to join us. Our next guest and a friend is Sandro França. He's the CEO of Euronexus. Sandro, welcome, and thanks for joining our committee.
Thank you. Let me start to share my presentation with you. Okay. Can you see the screen? Okay, great. So my friends, hi, good afternoon. My name is Sandro Francalati França. I'm Brazilian. I'm a new member of this committee, and I'd like to start this presentation with a brief presentation of myself. And after that, I would like to speak with two business segments that I see as potential opportunities for you, which are the security industry in Brazil and the wood-based industry. So I had the opportunity of working for Procter & Gamble, Barilla, and Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy for 17 years. And 9 years ago, I've started with my own business, and we have two business segments. One is the security segment, where we export security products to Brazil. And on the other hand, we work with wood-based products, exporting from Brazil to other countries. Talking about the security industry, we have, if you search for information in the American embassy or the American government, information about the security situation in Brazil, we are going to find a country summary information with information like violent crimes such as murder, armed robbery, elevated risk of robbery, assault at any time of day and especially at night. So this is not new. We have to face this problem, and that's why the public security has become a fundamental issue in this government. So the federal government has created a department to coordinate the portfolio of law enforcement under one ministry. So today we have this very good relationship between the governments of Brazil and the United States, and this leads to a better cooperation between these countries for both security and also everything connected with this, also defense. So also the Brazilian officials are seeking to modernize public security agencies through the acquisition of a variety of new equipments. So there is another segment in Brazil within the security industry, which is the public-private partnership to construct and manage prisons. So our company today exports to Brazil from the United States many products. I would like to highlight the company FLIR, which is this picture of this camera that you can see in this presentation. This company is based in California. It's a leading company in the US and worldwide for thermal cameras. So we export to Brazil for the government and also for private companies. Also Beretta and other companies based in the US. The other segment, which is the wood-based industry, we are talking about a business of $13 billion of export. Brazil, as you know, is a huge country, so we have a large area of planted trees, and the certified wood now in Brazil has increased. So we have a lot of resources to supply the United States. Today we have a favorable exchange rate, and I think maybe the most important point that we have a source of well-developed export industry. We have this segment has a long history of exporting, so we can find reliable suppliers for furniture, plywood, molding, flooring, sawnwood, panels, doors, and components. As I've said before, Brazil exports to Europe, Asia, and of course to the United States. is one of the most important markets for the wood-based products from Brazil. And our company works today exporting for mostly all the continents, products such as doors, moldings, plywood from Brazilian companies. To summarize this presentation, I'd like to highlight some. I believe that Brazil is a land of opportunities. So I think if you consider exports to Brazil, the security segment might be a good opportunity. The country is looking for innovative products, new solutions, is investing more in the public and private security. We have a budget around $30 billion per year in this area. The Made in America product has a good perception for the Brazilian consumer, so it helps selling. And Brazil is looking for a lot of products in this segment, like firearms, ammunitions, and a lot of different products connected with security. The other segment, considering importing from Brazil, if you are in the States, if you want to import from Brazil, the wood-based segment might be a good opportunity with favorable exchange rates, large areas of certified wood, and as I've said before, it's a well-developed export industry. You can find the reliable suppliers in Brazil. This is my presentation. I'd like to thank you for your attention. Muito obrigado.
Thanks a lot, Sandro. It was really great. It's what we need in this chamber, to have specific products, discussions, bringing up opportunities for all kinds of products and segments. So I really appreciate your presentation and our explanation. Thanks, Sandro. Now to demonstrate our diversity, we have a U.S. citizen member here as a founding member. Marshall, thanks for joining us, and I'm very excited about your presentation. As Chris said, risk mitigation is a passion that I have in my career. Thanks, Marshall.
Thank you, Kleber. Thank you so much, and boa tarde to everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Marshall Ray, president of Unitrade International, which is an export trading company and logistics and transportation consultancy based here in Los Angeles. I'm going to share the screen here with everyone so that we can all see the presentation. So I've been in this industry in logistics and transportation for about 30 years, both on the shipper side as well as on the service provider side. I've lived in Brazil. I was in Brazil from 2013 to 2017, where I was director of sales for South America for FedEx Express based in Sao Paulo. And for these last few years, I've been consulting with a number of customers, clients who are trying to build and facilitate bilateral trade between our countries. And I've also been working very closely with an innovative Brazilian company, Modern Logistics, based in Jundiaí, that is really breaking traditional paradigms in our industry in domestic Brazilian supply chains. So as a native Californian and a huge Brazil fan, many of my friends know that I consider myself quasi brasileiro. I'm super happy to be part of the chamber, and particularly glad to be participating in the International Trade and Logistics team and with our inaugural meeting today. So what I'm going to do here in the next few minutes is introduce very briefly a couple of general topics that are really important to our industry. One is the criteria for making a decision on who to hire in terms of logistics and transportation companies. And secondly, compliance and risk mitigation in the supply chain. So with that, let's go. Vamos lá. So every decision to hire a logistics service provider or underlying carrier comes down to three basic points: capacity, service, and price. And not necessarily in that order. So let's talk briefly about each of those. Capacity. whether we're talking about air freight or ocean freight or distribution, warehousing capacity, it's very, very important to analyze what that capacity is for the service provider or the underlying carrier. Do they have adequate capacity? Are there local or national or even regional limitations? You might have a warehousing company or distribution company that has a really good footprint here in Los Angeles, but maybe doesn't have as much space in New York or Florida where a customer may require it. Or in Brazil, you may have a company that's focused on the South and Southeast and have a fantastic CD distribution center in greater Sao Paulo, 20,000 square meters, but maybe up in the Northeast in Pernambuco and Recife, their footprint isn't quite as strong. So that's really important. What about acts of God? Well, we all know that tornadoes and hurricanes and weather conditions can interrupt the supply chain. That's obvious. But what about other external forces? What about the situation we're living through today with the pandemic? And how has that impacted air freight, for example? When you've had 75% of flights between the US and Brazil either canceled or postponed, all of that space in the belly of that aircraft, which is for baggage and mail, but also cargo, has evaporated. So what has that done to pricing? It's really increased it. What has it done to the difficulty of managing those logistics? So those things are important to consider. Service goes without saying, and I'll just focus on a couple of the points. When you're talking about hiring or a service provider, metrics are very important. Does the organization measure itself, whether it's the service provider or the underlying carrier? And are those performance benchmarks, those measurements, in sync with the customer's requirements for performance, on-time performance, and all kinds of other parameters? Probably the most important of those 4 points on the screen is problem handling. And as my friend Carla knows, in our industry, the very famous saying, you're only as good as your last shipment. So problems occur, they always do. When things are going great, there's no issue. But really the hallmark of a company is its ability to effectively and professionally and timely resolve problems with their customers and with the supply chain. Pricing, suffice it to say that pricing simply needs to be fair. Reasonableness considering the market dynamics. Our markets change all the time. Pricing thereby changes all the time because of supply and demand. So let's move to the second item, compliance and risk mitigation in the supply chain. When we talk about compliance, compliance is a very broad term, but in our industry, compliance generally has to do with customs compliance, whether it's on the export side of the transaction or the import side of the transaction. But depending on the product, can also involve other government agencies in both Brazil and in the US. You may have to deal with the US Food and Drug Administration or the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Administration, depending on the product. You may have to deal with Anvisa in Brazil, for example, depending on the product. So it's very important to take into consideration the various licensing and agencies. In terms of licensing, when you're exporting from the US or even importing products into the US, if those products have what we call dual use, meaning they have commercial as well as defense or military applications, they can require licensing from the US Department of State, US Department of Commerce, further complicating the transactions. And then based on the industry that the customer is in, there may be specific importer or exporter compliance regulations and compliance things that need to be considered. For example, in the cold chain, all the way through that supply chain, you have to make sure that the product is temperature controlled. Or in the pharmaceutical industry, for example, you may require clean room level sanitation and cleanliness all the way through the chain from beginning to end. So in terms of risk mitigation, what we're really talking about is understanding as many as possible, if not all, of the potential risks to a transaction. It's wonderful to make the sale, but you've got to get those products from point A to point B between the US and Brazil. So understanding those regulatory, as we discussed, or capacity limitations is key. And your supply chains, all of our supply chains are really only as strong as the weakest link of the chain. So it's extremely important to be working with trusted and experienced partners if there's a weak link somewhere in that chain. And I'll just close with a piece on timely information. Probably 20 years ago or more, Fred Smith, the CEO of FedEx, said that the information about a shipment is as important as the shipment, and maybe even more. And that's even truer today than it was then. In our age of e-commerce and social media and instant information, we all need to have timely information. And if something goes wrong with a shipment, you have the ability, if you've got that real-time information, to make changes, switch, refulfill, etc. So these are some general points that I'm sure will be good food for discussion in future meetings like this. I appreciate the opportunity to address the team and look forward to more of these. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marshall. It was really helpful, your presentation, explanation. I'm sure this will be an interesting topic for our next meetings, and we need a meeting just for discussing that. And what we have in mind is bringing somebody from Customs and Border Patrol to help us to clarify procedures and doubts. Thanks again, Marshall.
Quite welcome.
Now, I would like to introduce the person that is most responsible for everything happening in this committee, our Director of Institutional Relations, Marina Caldas. Marina, thanks for all support you've been giving to us. Unmute, Marina.
All right.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Marina Caldas. I'm Director of Institutional Relations for the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce, and I'm really excited to be here today. So my main role in this group is to coordinate the group's activities. We're going to have webinars, our coffee and chats, private meetings, our newsletter, and we're going to discuss this further later in this meeting. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our sponsorship opportunities. We have opportunities to sponsor our events. You can have your logo in our marketing material. If we're having a seminar, we offer you the chance to have a tabletop, banner, and distribution of brochures. If we're doing a webinar, like you saw here today, we announce your company as a sponsor and we play your corporate video at the beginning of a webinar. We also offer the opportunity to have your logo as a BCC sponsor on our homepage. We also have ads in our newsletter and also social media. So if you like to be a sponsor or supporter of Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce, please get in touch with me. If you like what you're seeing here today in this meeting and you wanted to get involved and be part of this committee, be part of the BCC, and you're also already a member, please email me at business@brazilcalifornia.com and I'll answer all your questions and we can discuss the details. If you're another chamber or institution, you're watching us here and you want to partner with us, please email me to discuss details again at business@brazilcalifornia.com. If you're not a member, please join us. Like Carla mentioned in her presentation, research shows that affiliation with key partners like us at the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce translates into real business results. We have a membership level that's right for your organization. Our corporate membership is for larger companies with 11 or more employees, and the annual dues are $1,000. If you're a small business with 10 or less employees, our annual dues are only $200. The membership benefits are like business referrals. You're going to business listing by company name in our website directory, and a description of the business and a link to the company's website. We do a welcome article and feature promotions in our online newsletter. We're going to have networking opportunities, access to valuable information, participation in members-only meetings and events like you see it here today. This meeting is normally closed to members only, but today we're opening for everybody. So join us at our website, brazilcalifornia.com. Click on the link, become a member, and we'll guide you through it. If you have any questions, please email me. You can also follow us and stay up to date. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and sign up on our website to receive our newsletter. So that's it. Thank you so much for being here. We really value your participation. Muito obrigada. And I hope we can work together more.
Thanks, Marina. Really helpful explanation. So Marina is our channel for joining the committee and join the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce. So all doubts or requests, you can contact her through the contacts you just showed to us. I will briefly now show how our committee is going to work, and now talk about our next events. Let me do this. This live webinar today is open for non-members, but from the next one on, will be restricted to only members of the chamber and partners. We'll make, because of the COVID now, we're gonna make them via Zoom. And maybe in the future, when things got established, we can make them in our headquarters in Beverly Hills. We also discussed a topic decided in the previous meeting, but the first topic will still be defined, and it's gonna happen our next meeting in 2 months. We always try to invite a guest from the sector we're gonna talk to make, to facilitate and clarify things. We wanted to define actions to improve trade conditions for that topic. And the second part of the meetings will be purely business network, business opportunities. Oh, I have a customer, I have a partner in Brazil that export foods. Would have a market and a buyer here in California. Let's talk with our connections and see. And vice versa. If somebody in the United States want to export to Brazil, have a specific problem, and can talk with us during this networking. It's totally open. We'll create content for the international trade and logistics in our newsletter that will be sent monthly in the Brazil-California newsletter. And also the guests, we'll have guests for the coffee and chats that's gonna be bi-monthly. We're gonna, in the next weeks, we're gonna tell the dates that's gonna happen, these next meetings. But what I'm really excited about is gonna be our webinar in September, a path to boost international trade between Brazil and California. We'll be part of Southern California World Trade Week, and we'll have 3 panels of discussions. We already invited the Brazilian Secretary of Foreign Trade, Mr. Lucas Ferraz, the National Confederation of Industry in Brazil, CNI, ports of Santos, Port of LA, Port of Long Beach, the Los Angeles Airport, LAX, the Customs and Border Patrol, CBP, the Harbors Trucking Association of Long Beach, the Agricultural Transportation Coalition, and many others that we're gonna invite for this conference. It's gonna be a very important conference. We're really excited about that. So you can send your suggestion for this conference and names and topics you wanna see and hear about. So up to now, we'd like to thank everybody. I ask all the members to turn on your cameras. Thanks for all the participants and speakers. I'm sure this is just a start for a great committee. So that, Marina, you want to talk something?
I was going to say, because we have some questions, so I was going to say that the time is up, but if people want to stay in line and ask questions, we can get some of the questions answered. And then
Sure,
I have
yeah.
one question.
Yeah, we're gonna keep here. We'll just pass again to Felipe, our president, to say the last word. So up to now, thanks a lot, everybody. Felipe?
Thank you. Obrigado, Kleber. Fantastic. Congratulations, everyone. This was amazing. Great launch. I'm very, very happy and proud of the work that we did today. So congratulations, Patrick. Congratulations, Kleber, Marina, Carla, Marshall, Sandro, and of course, Danielle, for your collaboration. We want to keep this timely. We're trying to avoid being, late with which is kind of our standard, if you know what I mean. But this is really exciting. The Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce, as I mentioned, we're a nonprofit. This is a volunteer-run organization. We're all volunteers here. So no one is getting paid for any of this. What we want to do is we see the benefit of engaging with our partners and our colleagues and friends to basically foment commerce. And we accomplished this today. We have partners that are government entities. We have private sector representatives, industry experts, freight forwarders, customs brokers, service providers, lawyers, and all that stuff. So insurance providers. There's a number of ways that you can access those resources being part of this committee. You heard from Marina, you heard from Carla, you heard from Patrick as well, how to become a member. We encourage you to join us. Again, of course, we need the support, but we encourage you to be part of the conversation. A few of the questions that are coming online: how do you sell PPE, personal protective equipment, to Brazil? How do you sell your CBP products to Brazil? How do you export apparel from Brazil to the US? A lot of those questions can be answered, not by me or maybe not by Kleber or Patrick, but we can direct those questions to our experts in our group. So thank you, everyone. I really want to close the meeting just thanking everyone again for the amazing work that you did today, for the presence here in the audience. This is really exciting, and this is just the first step, everyone. This is just the launch. There's a lot more to come. Kleber kind of outlined what the strategy is for the group. We will be more present, and we are now, and we will be even more as we develop this group, the main resource for connecting Brazil and California business in terms of trade and logistics. So count on us. We do have a number of really, really smart people on board with us, and we welcome a lot more. I really do want to thank everyone who attended today. We mentioned folks from Brazil, from Mato Grosso. I know that Victor from Boa Logistics is watching us from Rio de Janeiro. I again mentioned the Port of LA and Long Beach are online with us. So many great partners that are being part of this conversation that I really appreciate. It's just one way that if we can get an upside from the COVID-19 pandemic, is we are able to now do this online, right? We're all connected. Sandro is broadcasting from Vancouver. Anyway, so there's a lot going on, and we can get more connected using our digital resources. So with that, I really want to thank everyone again, once again, for joining us today. On behalf of the Brazil-California Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you to be part of this conversation, and I look forward to hearing more from you. If you have anything that was left out of this conversation and you want to share with us, you saw that, business@brazilcalifornia.com, and we'll be happy to continue this conversation. So with that, congratulations again, everyone. Thank you, everyone, and I'll close the event here. If you want to continue online, carry on. I'm sure that we all have a few more meetings to go on today. So thank you again, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Marina, we have some questions, right?
Well, we have some. You mentioned that you wanted to maybe to stay online, Kleber, but everybody else, who wants is to stay to answer some questions. But like Felipe mentioned briefly, were the questions that we have. We have Claudia Costa. She's a member, and she's asking some more details questions. I don't know if you're going to be able to go into details here, but maybe you can give an idea of the right resources for her. She wants to know how is the process for her to export her CBD product into Brazil. Is there anything you can?
Well, I guess our experts here are Marshall and Carla, and I think they're more comfortable to answer that. Marshall or Carla?
I can start. Carla, you may have more on that. I don't think you're going to see significant restrictions. I'm not an expert in the CBD area, but significant restrictions on the export side of the transaction. On the import into Brazil, maybe a different story. I don't know. Carla, do you have any knowledge about that? Carla, you're on mute.
I got some companies asking me about that, and they a time back they had restrictions. Now I believe the market in Brazil is open. What I recommend to her is to contact Marina, and we can refer you a company in Brazil that can help you with that. To get more, how can I say, more information about how to distribute in Brazil. Because yes, some companies are doing that, and it needs to have some requirements to be approved by the government of Brazil. And the best thing is to find a good distributor in Brazil to get more information about that. And again, it's a good opportunity you join our chamber, so you can participate in our network and be referred to one of our partners in Brazil, so you can launch this project. So basically,
maybe I could add some information regarding the CBD. To Claudia. Claudia, basically you have to work. We need Anvisa. There is an Anvisa regulation for this product, so you need both regulation, both a license for the product and the distributor. So the company who is going to import the CBD needs to have a license from Anvisa, and your product has to be a license too. This is the information that I have. So the first step is to find a distributor with Anvisa certificate.
That's very important, Sandro. Thanks for mentioning that. And it takes quite a while to get those licenses and those certifications to be able to handle that in Brazil.
Correct. That's right. The right distributor in Brazil to do a partnership with you to distribute your products. That is very important.
Yes, just to add what my colleague said, Claudia, we have partners, trading companies and distributors in Brazil, we know, with our professional networks. So contact Marina. We can link you with those networks we have. Marina, any more questions?
Yeah, so we have one more question from Hussein Aloui, and he's mentioning the demand for PPE products, protective material for COVID-19. And I've had like a lot of requests actually of American companies, Chinese companies. They want to supply the material into Brazil. I haven't had a lot of Brazilian companies or Brazilian institutions demanding that. So I don't know if there is, if you guys know of any demand of PPE products, or if there's any tips for them in this market for PPE.
It's certain that the Brazilian governments, not only the federal, but state and the cities, governments, they will be buying more equipment, more PPEs. We're still in the top of the crisis, the health crisis in Brazil, and for sure, Brazil doesn't produce enough PPEs to supply our market there. And to create these channels to connect you, we need to talk with our networks there. I don't know if Carlos, Sandro, and Marshall has already some that they can talk about.
Yeah, let me just add a couple of comments. I'm sure my colleagues will also have some, but the company that I mentioned in our remarks during the live that I'm working very closely with in Brazil, Modern Logistics, does an amazing job of distribution throughout Brazil. It's a domestic company, so we're not talking about the import or the export. In fact, I was on their strategy session this Tuesday, and I know that 5 out of the 11 strategic projects they're working on right now are exactly that, PPE distribution within Brazil. So that's one company that can, once you get it there, can certainly help you with it. But there is either Carla or myself or several others in the chamber, I'm sure, can help with the logistics of moving it from where it's coming from, either China or the US or wherever, into Brazil.
Yeah, correct.
Also, Hassan, I'm not sure if you're still there. I am dealing right now with some companies. I'm putting together deals between companies for the shipment from China of the PPE products. And I think being part of the chamber, I think, can help you connect with these companies. I think that's what we do here. That's why we are here, because we want to connect. We want to connect the people here in Brazil and here in California and Brazil. And we want, like, we can introduce you to other companies, maybe, and that's what we do. That's the networking aspect of the chamber. I got to be involved in these deals just by being part of it, and I think that's the great benefit of being part of the chamber.
Correct, and I agree totally with Patrick. Being member, and you have a participation in the network of the members, and to find the right distributor of your products in Brazil. Because Brazil, yes, with the COVID-19, with any other country in the world, is buying masks, gloves, equipment, respiratories, test kits. If you, as you say, you have the best products, feel free to contact Marina and join us, and then we will be more than glad to share our contacts in Brazil and how you can start to promote your products in Brazil. So pretty much that.
Marina, we have one last question. It's unmute, Marina.
Yeah, those are the 2 main questions that I had. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay, so up to now, I would like to thank again everybody for participating and for joining us this evening in Brazil, this starting of the evening of afternoon here in California, in Vancouver, in case of Sandro, and everywhere in the world. So thanks a lot. Let's go for the next step. Thank everybody, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.